crime ring in Pokuase. That's also on the New Independent. On the back page, they talk sports a bit. I want to keep his fearlessness. Birmingham head coach on Ibrahim Osman's debut goal, and Black Stars Fatau Ishaku scores seventh league goal in stunning fashion. He scores a lot of bangers, I'll be very honest with you, in terms of his goal catalogue. The Today newspaper, Tamale residents desperate as water crisis peak, and Sawamakra Road erupts in flames as tanker explosion kills 4, several others injured. AU elects Mahama as first vice chair. Court stops SSA UOG strike. That's Senior Staff Association Universities of Ghana. Their strike has been, the court have put brakes on them, right? Also here, the Republic Press, 4 die in horror crash as fuel tanker explodes. Ghana hunts for rogue Russian sex tourist. Government confirms terrorist attack on Ghanaian tomato traders in Burkina Faso. Bagman calls on executive to release land for new Parliament House. Minority calls for arrest of NDC member who invaded Tema Central NHIS office, and Interpol permanently deletes red notice against Ken Ofori Atta. It's one of the stories I've been trickling in from Friday, still making quite the airwaves. The Custodian, cocoa farmers in tears over NDC's massive betrayal. That story on page 3. Police foil organized cybercrime at Deaf Traco Estates. 2 nabbed, 10 victims rescued. Lily Mohammed is best TV female newscaster. NPP holds Thanksgiving service after presidential primary. APN pushes for visa free Africa at AU summit. Those are the details we have here. There's one funeral that's been running through a number of the papers. Perhaps I'll take time to get into that. The news center, cocoa farmers fume, weep. Anger boils as they demand price cut reversal or Ekufuado price restoration. Story on page 2. MTN Carbon collects 7,020 pints of blood in Save a Life drive. Ghana to end raw mineral exports by 2030 according to President Mahama. Ace Nkrumah's strategic solutions to cocoa crisis. And Gaiety warns of political risk in government takeover of Damang mines. On the back page, a bit more in terms of stories in relation to MTN. We'll move on. The Ghanaian Point, it's one of the new ones. Lodina Dramani Mahama pledges expanded health education drive at Oflad Assembly. I think that will be for Office of First Ladies, I suspect. Let's forgive each other and move on united. Bawumia tells NPP. We're hearing a bit more from him from that Thanksgiving yesterday. The minority leader, amongst other individuals, speaking from there. We'll hear just bits and pieces of that as well from yesterday. There's an entire catalogue of individuals who spoke. I'll bring you that. We must end dollar dependence in inter-Africa trade. That's according to President Mahama. Cocoa farmers want their money, pay them. Apenyo marking to government. He was speaking yesterday at that event. And government confirms terrorist attack on Ghanaian tomato traders in Burkina Faso. The Daily Democrat, MIF CEO champions de-risking and collaboration at Africa Mining in Diba. 2026. The base emerges as third force in Ghana politics. Hey, never heard of them. The base. Which page is this one? Let me see if I can get details of it and see if we can make head or tail of the base as a new force in Ghana's politics. Searching. Haruna Idrisu discharged, recovering well. It's inside the paper, but it's not on the front page. see if I can get details. So, a new political movement, the Base, has officially entered Ghana's political space with a bold declaration to challenge the long-standing dominance of the two major parties and offer what its founders describe as a genuine alternative for national renewal. And the movement was formally unveiled at a press conference in Accra on Tuesday, where its leadership outlined the motivations behind it. Addressing the media, Nana Opoku-Agyeman, Deputy Secretary of the Base, said Ghana's democratic experiment under the Fourth Republic has for more than 3 decades been controlled by... All right. All right, so that's latest as well. On the front pages, women issues are development issues. That's according to the president. Africa must act now. President Mahama, you must speak with one voice on reparatory justice. President Mahama again. And Katamanso Ajinwe family declares Afutiagbo installation invalid. I like to skip it off for chieftaincy matters. The exclusive is another of the new ones I'm having to read to you this morning. MIF CEO pushes the risk mining finance. The Base declares political reset. Opariado rolls out apprenticeship tools. Haruna Idrisu Sukparu stable after crash, and Greater Accra begins poultry jobs program. Police nab suspect in Zebila murder. That was also here. And then finally, I have the Business and Financial Times for you as well. MIF CEO champions de-risking and collaboration at mining in Daba 2026. AGI demands protection for local manufacturers, says unfair competition could derail its success. Finance Ministry backs GISP SECO SME drive. Cost consumer preference put rise imports high. SWIG Chief Executive leads landmark visit to Ghana and sharing the value of gold in Ghana. On the back page, lift export bans to ease food glut and protect farmers' incomes. Dr. Gideon Bako, Eric Afo heads team at ECOWAS financial talks. Those are the details on the front pages of the Business and Financial Times. Let me take you to the UPSA from yesterday, where the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, shared quite the speech during his Thanksgiving event yesterday. I'll take you there and then I'll return for a bit more in terms of the newspapers.
Thank you very, very much. Eminent clergy.
92.7.
National executives, chairmen and members of the Council of Elders, minority leaders, members of Parliament, the former Chief of Staff, the former presidential aspirants, former members of Parliament and former ministers of state and former government appointees, regional and constituency executives, executives of our external branches, our former parliamentary candidates, electoral area coordinators, polling station executives, our TESCON patrons and executives of TESCON have been successful. That is why the Bible tells us in the book of Thessalonians that for all things give thanks to God. Praise be to his name. We are indeed thankful. Today's Thanksgiving service is not a celebration of personal ambition. It is, for me, a moment to join you all in reflection, prayer, and a recommitment to a higher cause, the cause of contributing to the building of a nation that is truly great and strong. We have been through a grueling election cycle, one that has the potential to have caused wounds and strained relationships. Elections can leave scars that may not show on the surface, but can sometimes cut deep. Jesus taught us in Matthew 5:39 to 44 that when we are falsely accused, our response should reflect patience, truth, love, and trust in God, rather than retaliation. This teaching, part of the Sermon on the Mount, emphasizes no revenge, no returning insults for insult, and responding with unexpected grace. I am strengthened and inspired by Psalm 23, verses 118 to 22, which tells us that the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. And that is why on this day, as we celebrate and give thanks together, I want to ask all of us from the bottom of my heart to forgive each other for some of the unpalatable things we may have said against one another during this election cycle. I have been encouraged by the efforts I have seen many of you make to reach out to your brothers and sisters after the election. And though I know the exercise of healing isn't completed yet, I believe we have started well, and I commend all patriots for the steps taken so far. I would like to, at this juncture, also thank all church leaders, including all charismatic church leaders, for their support, advice, and constant prayers that contributed significantly to the peace and success of the contest. We are encouraged by the knowledge that going forward, we can continue to count on their constant prayers. What is left of healing and uniting will come by acknowledging where each went too far, telling ourselves the truth, and still choosing to walk together. Healing will not come from silence. It will come from speaking up on what binds us together and working towards it. As a family, we have more that binds us together than what we differ on. What we have to do is to deepen our concentration on what we have in common and put less emphasis on what we differ on. The road ahead will demand discipline, sacrifice, and hard work. Victory in 2028 will not be gifted to us. It must be earned, constituency by constituency, household by household, with humility and purpose. In the coming weeks and months, we shall embark on a thank you tour to properly acknowledge the hard work and comportment that have been displayed by party members nationwide through this period. We are also getting to work quickly to reorganize the party's policy structures, to fine-tune and market our alternative policy proposals to the good people of Ghana. in the shortest possible time. While at that, the reorganization of our party structures will continue in earnest to give the stronger and well-motivated machinery required for election 2028. Let us put behind personal grudges, internal suspicions, and factional lines. Let us rebuild trust among ourselves. Let us return to the values that built this party: service, competence, and respect for institutions, and belief in the Ghanaian people. This is the beginning of our journey to win back the trust and love of the Ghanaian people. Our nation requires the best efforts that each of us can put up. It requires that we all give the best of our ideas, our sweat, and our sacrifice to build the nation our forebears envisioned. In my personal experience, I have learned that if you do not focus on how people opposed to you have offended you, you will be able to build an environment where everyone eventually brings their best to help in achieving the bigger goal. That is why I would like to use this sacred moment to appeal respectfully and firmly to the government of the day. Ghana has been through a lot. Our people are still under lots of pressure. This is not the time for retribution, intimidation, or the settling of political scores. It is the time to lower the temperature, heal the nation, and govern in a way that reassures every Ghanaian that they are safe, respected, and valued, regardless of how they voted. Ghana is bigger than any political party. Our democracy must never be reduced to vengeance. There is work to be done, serious work. The kind of work that requires patience, listening, learning, and showing up even when the applause is absent. The kind of work that places the country before comfort and duty before ego. I pledge my full commitment to this task, not alone, but together with you, together with every committed party member, every volunteer, every youth organizer, every woman's leader, every elder who still believes that Ghana can be better than what we see today.
3FM Sunrise.
Let us leave this place renewed, focused, and determined. May God heal our party. May God heal our nation. And may God grant us the wisdom and strength to serve Ghana with integrity, courage, and love.
3FM
Thank you, and may God bless you all, and God bless our home.
3FM Sunrise.
UPSC auditorium. Then we'll switch quickly, all right? Because the General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Fiavikwete, has been speaking as well in an exclusive with us on quite a number of issues. I'll bring you a quick excerpt of that as well. And here's a minority leader as well speak during the Thanksgiving service yesterday from the NPP at the UPSA.
Cocoa farmer bia ekweni bia lucy 10 million per bag. And no ni asemo ayeka. Into wiki minority for parliament ebeye putu. Cocoa farmers or musika no ombetua. Me we no so MPP for Asia, Mr. Colleagues, they will try and divide us and come with all manner of arrest every now and then. When their back is against the wall, they will come out with arrest. Please, we are politician, now you're chiwa and you're bonnet. Yenjina Pinting Chair Dr. Bawumia and win power 2028. Don't let them intimidate you with arrest. Now, the third reading. Gukrudu, the third reading. A reading from the book of John, chapter 17, 20 to 26.
FM Sunrise.
Sunrise on 3FM.
Kemeni Amano on. Let's just listen in on that vote buying segment and why the party felt a need. And if you haven't had breakfast, you should be seeing Corey munch on some bread this morning. It will leave you with a wet appetite. But anyways, here's Fifi Fiavikwete speaking to why the NDC
92.7
had cause to set up a committee to investigate matters of vote buying, and why that committee's work has been expanded to look at all other candidates and what solutions they are going to be seeking to receive from the committee.
It's not because at that time nowadays you didn't have to. It was the fact that at the time you on the Congress day you get people telling, "Oh, won't you give us anything? We'll vote for you." I couldn't care. Went ahead and did that. But I can tell you that between then and now, it's become absolutely worse across. So we felt something needed to be done about it. Sometime in before 2016. The party took a decision which decision actually brought a solution to this. Okay. And that decision was simply to have a delegate system that was much more universal. So I can tell you that I ran then as a member of parliament when I was doing my primaries for elections 2016. My primaries, I didn't give one dime to anybody. Why? Because the delegates were so massive that you didn't have to. You couldn't even give money to anybody, even if you wanted to, because there were simply too many. And that decision, I think, was a solution. But sadly, what happens is this: when you lose an election, people look for all kinds of reasons why you lost. And people with vested interests who wanted this delegate system to come back, money to convince leaders of the party at the time that no, the taking away of the delegate system was the reason why we lost. I still believe that was an absolute fabrication and a lie. And somehow the party caved into that, maybe because we're in opposition. And I would think that decision of the party to cave in and allow this delegate system to come back is the reason why it has now gained even far more momentum. So the also East thing gave us what I call a golden opportunity to want to start the process towards resolving this once and for all. We were handicapped because the primaries happened on a Saturday. We needed to present a candidate on Wednesday. FEC was going to be meeting on Tuesday, and so even though we tried to make an intervention by getting a committee quickly in place to go into the issue, and we found out clearly that there were very inappropriate conduct on the part of virtually everybody. It was impossible to be able to do anything because one, constitutionally we couldn't nullify the election.
Right.
Two, the time was too short to be able to bring another candidate. So we have to allow.
Let's look at those. Let's look at those two issues.
Yeah.
The fact that constitutionally you couldn't do anything about it.
Nullify it.
You couldn't.
Even though the committee recommended nullification.
Nullification. That's correct.
That was the best decision, and we agreed that should have been. But clearly, it was difficult
The party couldn't nullify the election, but the Electoral Commission could.
Yeah, but the Electoral Commission didn't have a case because nothing like that happened in front of them. In the conduct of the election proper, that happened within a certain principle. There's no gift sharing, no bribe taking. So there's no such thing that happened in front of the Electoral Commission.
But if your committee had presented your evidence to the Electoral Commission, then perhaps they would have case for that.
This is our party primaries. It doesn't belong to the Electoral Commission. What decision we are taking had to do with how to sanitize our party. That's not the business of the Electoral Commission. If they had evidence, they have to pursue their own evidence. So it was difficult for us. But then again, if we told the Electoral Commission to nullify our election, how are they going to ensure that we get another candidate? How are the Electoral going to, because they were not going to change their timetable because of that. So we'll end up in a situation where we have no candidate, and clearly this is our seat. We are not going to just allow NPP to come and take our seat by default. No way. We're going to do that, especially a party is of that. At least they even don't have even the, should I call it, they just did their presidential, should I call it, primaries, and there was massive vote buying. But they've not even had a conscience to even initiate a move like we have done to acknowledge that this is a problem, to want to take steps towards the resolution of it. You allow a party like that to actually benefit from our decision. That was totally.
There was massive vote buying in their presidential primary.
Big time.
Because we didn't report on that.
Maybe you and the delegate themselves spoke largely, got angry about some of the people who didn't give them the money that they were expecting and so on. Really, are you a stranger? I mean, you can't tell me you're the only stranger in Accra. I mean, everybody does know exactly what happens.
Well, I've got to ask what the basis for that is. And back to the issue of Ayawaso East, right? Another interpretation of that will be that the NDC could not uphold the rule of law, and what you did was to pick your seat over the law.
Over which law?
Over the law that if the committee had found that indeed there was voter inducement, then somebody or some people had broken the law. But you decided that irrespective of it, because we do not have time, let's present a candidate. So you pick the seat over upholding the law.
It's not as simple as that.
Okay.
Because don't forget, I always explained to you that we're talking about something that really is a very pervasive practice. There's no member that is in parliament today who will tell you that they do not have to engage in this same practice in their primaries. There's no one. I'm a politician and I know. And they also know. And it's not only that. Even the political parties themselves, in the conduct of sometimes our elections, we are compelled to resort to some of this. Why? Because that is what the society has accepted now. So people literally tell you that if you don't do this, you are not going to vote. So somehow I'm telling you that it's a society-wide issue and therefore must be approached from that bigger perspective.
Right.
Two, if we want to resolve this issue, the best way to do it is to look for comprehensive solutions.
Right.
So simply scapegoating one or two individuals doesn't resolve the issue.
But someone would say that you missed the opportunity to do that, to be different.
Not at all, not at all.
Okay.
In the first place, don't forget, Baba Jamal as an individual won, absolutely had some penalty. The fact that his appointment had been terminated by the president, that's
right.
one. The party recommended also that other people who took part in that primaries, who have government positions, whether on board or CEO positions, should also be recalled. So the party has not actually allowed them to get away. Then the party now has been made a recommendation that we should have a 7-member committee that goes into a comprehensive proposal as to how we can resolve the issue. So clearly, opportunity is not lost at all. And what is worth doing is worth doing well. Because as I told you, it's a problem that has been here for decades. It's not just happening yesterday or 2 days ago. So if you want to tackle it, you must tackle it properly. You don't tackle it by using tokenism or simply trying to make people feel happy. When you do that, you behave like NPP. That came across shouting all kinds of slogans, and at the end of the day, they left the country in total devastation because they were much more interested in the PR rather than solving the problem properly. We are interested in comprehensive reform that would absolutely deal a death blow to this problem once and for all. It's not just the PR we want to do it properly, because what is worth doing must be done well.
Do you think that you have achieved that comprehensive resolution?
Yeah, that's what I just told you. That first and foremost, this is giving us a golden opportunity to go into that once and for all. I can tell you that if without this happening, if we set those rules in place, our own people will tell you, why are you trying to disturb the system? This system is okay. It's been on for years. Allow it to go. Now, none of them can give us that excuse. My delegates can no more come and tell me, no, allow it to go. This is our caucus, and this is the only opportunity we get to also get something. Now they can't tell me that, because the whole country has seen exactly what is happening. We have made a decision that we need to come to terms with this reality and stop it once and for all. So even those of them who may not be happy about the fact that it's about to go, they need to appreciate, therefore, that the moment is here. It's a golden opportunity that's coming. Therefore, we must, take the opportunity now.
As we speak, do you know if the executive has taken your recommendations to remove those who are on board?
Actually, I think it shouldn't be a problem, because the president has been duly informed. So I think that process shouldn't be a difficult process at all.
I see. Away from voter inducement, another issue that characterized the exercise is that there was the perception that there was, or Hadi Amina McNaza was the establishment candidate. Did the NDC have her as a candidate of choice?
That's the first time I'm hearing that, because I can tell you that if she were the establishment candidate, then when she made a request to us that we should allow her to have a virtual vetting, would have granted that. We told her plainly that it's not happening, that she has to appear like everybody. We are not going to grant an exemption. So as a party, you can clearly see that no favorites. So I'm surprised to hear. I've heard a bit of that establishment candidate. I don't know where that thing is coming from.
Well, because
individuals could have their preferences, and that's okay. I mean, you can have different people. Somebody might want Jamal, another person may not want Jamal. Somebody may want her, somebody may want her. So different people will have that. I don't. As far as NDC leadership is concerned, I didn't think of anyone having any clear advantage at all.
I mean, the perception is that Baba Jamal, politically speaking, has been problematic for the NDC from his days in Akwetia, back in Ayawaso East, and then today. And so you preferred a less problematic candidate for Ayawaso East. Given the backdrop also that the majority leadership decided to go and donate to Hadi Amina. And so it gave the impression that she was the clear favorite.
I'm not sure about the majority leadership as a whole. I think individuals, and those individuals, I'm sure, portrayed that they were representing a majority as a whole. I mean, that's as I told you, people have their preferences. So sometimes they can try and skew their preferences to appear as if it belongs to, they represented the whole. Because, for example, speaking to some of the key leaders, like, for example, the majority leader, the chief whip, they clearly didn't even know anything about this particular donation. So obviously, that donation must have been orchestrated by a few individuals who clearly created an impression that they were representing the whole majority. I don't think that was the case. But I mean, she lost her husband. So you have people who naturally will have that kind of sympathy. But as I told you, at party level, there was no such. We took our decision purely based on what ought to be. She requested for a virtual vetting. We told her, no, it's not happening. Appear. Because if you give a virtual vetting, are you going to have a virtual campaign when NPP and you are running? So we said, no way, it's not happening. So that tells you that as far as you're concerned, no favoritism, no.
In what ways did Ayawaso East test the NDC?
As I told you, it gave us an opportunity to deal with a problem that many of us have been trying to find a solution to a long time ago. I can tell you that I never understood why we moved away from that broader, shall I call it, that broader, much more universal delegacy. I never understood it. I totally disagreed, with the party, succumbing to the pressure. If I'm happy, my predecessor, Asidu Nketia, Gina Mosquito, also was pretty much interested in making sure that expanded system continue. He was in a minority, so other people, overruled, and so therefore we had to cave in. So this is a beautiful opportunity that has been granted not just to the NDC, but to be able to send a clear message to the rest of Ghana. The NDC is really in the process of changing things that can help us to do it better.
If the party was scoring itself on the organization of that contest, what would you score?
What you mean, contest in what way?
The organization of the primary.
The contest itself was very well done. If you check, it's one of the best primaries we've ever had. Very peaceful. There was no incident. But if you're talking in terms of the inappropriate conduct, why would I score it differently? Because it's the same thing that has been happening for ages. And I'm never one that is a hypocrite at all. I have seen it done across different levels, so I don't see why I should come and say that what's happening now is particularly different from what has happened in so many other places. So I would say that the conduct itself has been well done. The party organized it very well. Individuals did exactly what different individuals at different levels of the party and other parties have done, which we must condemn and try to move away from.
1 year of the NDC in office, let's look at some issues that have come up. At the party level, very recently, you made announcement of some changes to be seen. One of those which many found controversial was what you felt or what you explained, that people should not have executive or administrative roles and then still have roles in the party. What is the thinking behind that?
All right. First and foremost, let's make it clear. These are decisions that have been taken by the National Executive Committee of the party. So it's a collective decision. Often, when you're as General Secretary, you speak to this issue, people tend to think that it is your individual position, which is not the case at all. I'm speaking on behalf of the party as a whole. So that's the first one. Two, I would say this is not even a new thing at all. This actually is something that the party, over the years, we evolve out from. We started this party initially with people holding both positions in government and at the same time holding party positions. I can give you examples. For example, late E.T. Mensah was Minister for Youth. At the same time, he was youth organizer of the NDC. He was holding those two positions at the same time. A time came when the party felt, especially when we lost power in the year 2000, the thinking was that no, we are in opposition now. You can't, people should not be allowed anymore to be encumbering more than one position. So a time came when the party said, for example, that if you were a member of parliament, you should not be allowed to be holding party position at the same time. Okay? In fact, on the back of that, I tell you that in a previous contest that had to do with my own good friend and brother, Harun Idrisu, who was then MP, at the same time was trying to continue to hold his position as a youth organizer. Some of us took that principal position to vote against him because we felt that was not right. Allow somebody else who is not holding an MP position to run to become a youth organizer. So I'm telling you that evolution has been on for quite a bit. So what is happening now is simply institutionalizing the thinking that has been there for a long time. Now what we are saying is simple, that if you are holding a position, especially a position as a minister, deputy minister, a position as a CEO, a deputy CEO, a position as a what you call a district chief executive or metropolitan municipal chief executive, you are in a position that gives you vast opportunity. First of all, they are positions that are very, should I call it, very engaging, but very they are time consuming. You need to focus completely. So you obviously are not going to be having time to be able to manage party work as well. It's going to be difficult. I can tell you, for example, when I became, I was in charge of communication of the party when we won power the last time in 2009, and I became deputy finance minister. I mean, I couldn't have 1 minute to leave my job in the finance ministry to attend a party meeting. I couldn't have a meeting to go and do communication on behalf of the party. So automatically, that job devolved on others who were still at the party level, who had to continue that. So this really should not be a difficulty at all. I mean, so I find it difficult to appreciate why anyone even thought this is a problem. Because I've been in that position, I never once thought it was a problem. Because and my colleagues who were with me at the same time, Visa Friankra, who was then Deputy General Secretary, who became Deputy Local Government Minister, never had a problem with it, never bothered. Harun Idriso, who was youth organizer, and then moved to become a communication minister at the time, never had a problem. He continued his work. So I don't understand why this current generation will have any problem at all with it. That's why I say, listen, that's what the party decided, that listen, if you still insist that you're holding a position either as a CEO, as a minister or deputy, and you want to still contest for a party office, then resign from your position 6 months before an election in order to come and concentrate fully on the party and then have your work.
I mean, but
I think this is a straightforward thing.
There are those who would say that I can serve the nation and still serve the party at the same time.
Even the country has come to realize that you cannot more be allowed to be a member of parliament at the same time a minister in government. Even the country has come to accept that. That's what the constitutional review has come to. So it tells you that clearly that even is not very easy to be done. So why would anybody convince anybody that you can do both? I can see, for example, what has happened over the last 1 year since we've been in government. Those who are very busy in their various departments have not had time to continue party, and we can understand why.
Is that impacting party administration?
Absolutely, they simply don't have the time. They are busy. So naturally, they don't have the time. If the party is having a meeting, they can't. I mean, they don't have the time. Others will have to do it. So these are things that are simply, should I call it, things that are very straightforward. So honestly, the reaction from some up to now, it baffles me. I don't understand it. And I think that in terms of the spirit of reset, the very fact that you are even protesting, for me, it just shows that you don't even understand what this whole reset is about. Because this reset is simply about transforming the country. I mean, focusing on what needs to be focused on, allowing other people to do the job. And this is a party that has got millions of supporters. This is a party that, God forbid, any of us who drop dead today, there are so many other people who will come and take our position and do an equally good job, if not a better job. So for any individuals to believe that we are indispensable, without us, the job can't get done. So therefore, we have to hold 1 and 2 positions at the same time. I used the word that amounted to greed, and some overreacted. I repeat it again, that's nothing but greed. That's what it is, greed. So please, give it up.
I see. Are there any more changes to expect as you head into your own party elections in the future?
By and large, the National Executive have sat together and we've come up with the guidelines that's supposed to be to be the framework that will guide all our elections, the internal elections, which will be mostly this year, and then will continue into next year when we expect to, the latter part of next year, when we expect to be doing the presidential primaries, for example, and the parliamentary primaries. So I would say for now, the guidelines are what they are. But as and when issues happen, for example, the issue of IASU has now given an opportunity to want to look at the delegate system, because prior to that, that conversation was going to be done, but there was no, but this is a good trigger that allows us to now be. So the committee now will bring a proper recommendation and will be able to now come with appropriate reforms regarding the delegate system, and that would then help us to be able to go into all the elections.
Is the NDC still on a thank you tour, or is this chairman that is on a thank you tour?
Why? As chairman. Ask Chairman about that.
I see. Because there are those from outside the party who think that your chairman is campaigning for...
When you meet the chairman, you ask him the one.
How does the party feel about his extensive thank you tour around the country?
I say when you meet him, ask him about it.
Is it in favor of...
He can speak to that.
Is it in favor of the NDC?
He will speak to that. So when you meet him, ask him that question.
Very well.
Okay.
So while we're on the subject of 1 year, and we'll come back to issues of elections, because you announced that you will contest again as General Secretary of the party. So we'll look into that a little later. But I want us to look at the relationship between the NDC and the government of the day, the executive, so to speak.
Okay.
One of the concerns that were raised in John Mahama 1 was a sort of very frosty relationship between party and then the executive office. How has that changed in John Mahama 2?
Okay. Well, let's say it this way. It's always a journey. It's not a journey that's perfect, and you don't expect it to be perfect overnight. But I would say, compared to the previous situation, we actually have done much better now than we've done in the past. And of course, we, as you say, you expect even more. So and that's an ongoing conversation. You must appreciate that we are coming from a past where effectively, once you win power, you really hold all the levers. You clearly make all those determinations. So from that pass into a situation where we're at the most perfect situation where the decisions are much more collective, where party and government sit together in order to make those conversations. I would say that's the ideal situation. What I would say that we haven't reached the ideal as yet, but compared to the past, we've made progress. That's what I can say.
And per your constitution, you'd have an advisory committee for the executive. Is that advisory committee meeting?
No, that advisory committee actually was supposed to be helping with what you call the period. I mean, more. It's much more a committee that will join the transitional period when you're about to start the series of appointments.
I see.
So I would say that committee actually was part of the beginnings of the process in terms of advising on some of the key appointments to be done.
Indeed, and I'm glad you brought that up, because then my follow-up question to that will be whether or not the party is impressed by the output or work of the appointees.
The way you look at it is simple. We made a number of promises to the country, and so you want to see how far have we gone towards that. One of the things we told the country is that we wanted to institutionalize a system that will give the people of Ghana much more confidence in government. I think by and large, if you check what you call the reaction of the people towards the first year in government, and that's not just our view, but also borne out by what's called institutions that have done a survey to check what I call the level of the rating, the approval rate of the government, and for that matter, the president. I think the approval rate has been very good. So that tells you that by and large, the country feels, even though it's not perfect, you really have done much, much better than the previous regime that you do. So that's the first one. Two, you also notice that as opposed to the 8 years of the NPP, where virtually almost on a daily basis, it was scandal upon scandal upon scandal, starting from the very first day of inauguration, when the then president literally went plagiarizing the speech of not just George Bush Jr., but other people as well placing in the speech. So that set a tone towards what you call the series of scandals that we had. Our government, by and large, have tried very hard to deal with that. The reason is simple. Every appointee knows that there is no cover-up. You make a mistake, you take the fall for it. And that's a statement the president has made every opportunity he's had when he's meeting with appointees. In cabinet, he's actually told again and again to all appointees. And the party has stood behind the president in also telling the appointees that the party clearly is not going to be covering anybody up. You do what is wrong, you will take the fall. So I think that has set a clear tone to everybody that you need to do what is right. They are not perfect, you can appreciate, but you can see clearly that the conduct has been very encouraging. In terms of the economy is always the heartbeat of everything. In terms, that's the main barometer. I think generally the economy, if you look at what it is we had into the year 2024, and what it is, the difficulties that we even met, vis-a-vis what it is we've done already in the first year, you can clearly see that we've been able to not just stabilize the economy, we actually brought a lot of the key indicators down to levels that was difficult to believe at the close of 2024. We're talking about inflation today. First time, I can't remember the last time. In fact, the last time when I was in the finance ministry, we were able to bring inflation down. By the time we got that was almost, I think inflation went into single digits somewhere May of the following year. But here, inflation actually went into that single digit in that very first year. And has remained in that single digit already from that period, going down further. So that tells you that things are pretty strong. The CD's performance has been very, very strong as well. And naturally, when you have a stable currency, or even in this case, a currency that literally has appreciated vis-a-vis, the international currencies, that has what you call effect on bringing stability on the economy. Interest rate has trended downwards. Treasury bill rates, for the first time is down into treasury bill, into single digit as well. I remember we had that in the previous administration for just 1 month. When it came down somewhere in November 2010 or so, it came down into single digit. Then after that, we couldn't keep it there because the difficulties started. And so you can see that relatively things are going well. So we can only say, yes, we are increasingly happy about the performance. You can see clearly, for example, in the road sector, massive effort being done to literally, affect the totality of the road sector, every nook and cranny of our country. And as the Chinese will tell you, you want to bring a transformation to a place, what you do is to build a road. Because the moment you build a road, it changes the dynamics. The economy transforms immediately. Opportunities are created. And so that, another very great one. We see what's happening in the local government sector. For example, with what you call the market that are being built virtually in every district in the country. That's massive. Effort that's been made to ensure that these districts start to get what you call resources for their development. If you're talking about the genuine development of the country, it's not what happens in Accra or what happens in a major city, but what is happening in every district of the country. And if you are having resources being taken down to those districts, that's a law. And remember, in the NPP, what they did was to monopolize those resources in Accra and then allow what I call all kinds of characters working in partnership with the people in government, using procurement to literally amass wealth for themselves and share with themselves. We are saying that, listen, 80% of resources, instead of keeping in Accra, let it go down to every district. That is massive. It takes courage, it takes commitment, it takes love for country to be able to get that done. Yeah. So the country as a whole is seeing that commitment towards transformation, towards development. And I tell you, this is even just the beginning. We are now about to really start going to the second gear, the third gear, and take the country to the place we promised.
We'll touch a bit more on that. But while we're on the issue of appointments, is the government due for a reshuffle? Do you think?
It's always important that despite the fact that things have gone on very well in the first year, the president, who is the leader, would always want to see where things can still be done better. So reshuffle normally is done within that context, where you want to see in this particular sector, even though things are okay, I can still do better if I move somebody else into that place, or in this place, maybe this one is not too effective in this sector. Let's move into that setup where maybe you will be a little. So I think reshuffle will be a possibility, and from what I pick up in the corridors, yes,
a possibility soon.
We definitely are going to be having the reshuffle. Yeah,
sometime soon.
I wouldn't be able to say how soon, but definitely.
Very well. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about a bit more on some economic and governance issues, but we'll also answer the question of who is likely to lead, or what kind of person is likely to lead the party into a general election of 2028. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
You're still live here on the 3FM Sunrise. Just been bringing you brief excerpts of that interview with Fifi Fiavi Kwete.
Your social media handler says don't cut because a lot of people want to hear the things he's saying.
I mean, it was interesting.
It is. And I have always, I think we had this conversation before, you and I, where I said, I think party people are being too hard on Fifi with some of the utterances. I see that he tries to take a principled position and he tries to communicate firmly as the chief executive of the party. Yes, and if you listen to him, especially on some of the utterances, he made a clear statement that, look, this is not my personal position. It's the position of the entire executive body, which I communicate on behalf of the executive. And rightly so, he's the person to convey the message. So if you hear it from his voice, then you shouldn't have a problem with it. And as we speak now, I personally don't have a problem with that insistence that if you hold a party office and you are seeking to, or if you hold a government appointment at the same time a party office, and you are seeking to get back to or continue with the party office, you should first of all resign from that government appointment. I think it works perfectly well. You see, when we do that, we are also able to strengthen the political party as a political party, the party that sponsored and orchestrated the win of and formation of the government of the day. You see, but if we have people crisscrossing, so you have, imagine the general secretary had taken up a ministerial position, chairman taking up ministerial position, women's organizer in government, youth organizer in government, communications officer in government. At the time that the party would have to call His Excellency to order, the party will not be able to do that. Because whilst His Excellency reports to the national executives as sponsored by the party, the members of the National Executive Committee will also be reporting to His Excellency as his appointees. So where do you draw the line? And it's not just about NDC. I think that all political parties should do this. That the party must remain the party, with officers of the party being officers of the party. That if you want to receive an appointment into the administration, resign or withdraw your party position, so that the party will continue to be strengthened. Otherwise, you are weakening the party. The executives will not be able to then rein His Excellency in. That is what do they call political science 101. That at any point in time, the president, who is the president of the republic, is answerable not just to the people of the republic, but also to the political party on whose ticket he became the president. So that if the president is doing something that will hurt the fortunes of the party in the next election, the functional executive committee will go into conclave, call Mr. President, sit Mr. President down and tell Mr. President, look, you are the president, but your actions are affecting the fortunes of the larger party. And so do the needful. You have to realign. You have to respect the party. Whether we like it or not, that is another layer of check on the executive that people take for granted. So imagine that at the time that everybody was complaining, remove Ken Oforiatta as minister, remove Ken Oforiatta as minister.
It was a point I was going to come to, that increasingly it looks like lessons from the last term of President Akufo-Addo is informing in great detail how both parties, both the NPP and the NDC, are seeking to
form and conduct themselves.
Absolutely. Even for the opposition now, they are seeking, they've amended their constitution such that the president or the flag bearer no longer leads the party. There's a recognized leadership in the chairman who can then rein in other persons in relation to conduct when they are in power, amongst other things.
Exactly. That is why you need to have strong leadership at a party level, not only when the party is in opposition, more so when the party is in government, so that the actions of the two do not, of the executive do not affect the fortunes of. You think that if the national executive of the NPP had been able to rein in President Akufo-Addo to tell him that these actions, the people are calling for the removal of your minister, you have to remove your minister, otherwise it will affect the larger party interest. You think that if the national executive of the NPP had taken the same stance that across the Apia Kubi-led section of parliamentarians had taken, the party probably wouldn't have been where it is today. The party probably would have been able to direct and reshape its future, and probably even if it had lost the election, wouldn't have lost by this margin. If at the time that prices were going on high and high and high and high, fuel prices were skyrocketing, food prices were, and the agric minister was more interested in becoming flag bearer. If the national executive had the courage to bring Mr. President and his ministers to the table and told them, you must do 1, 2, 3. If they had done that, the NPP probably would have been enjoying a different fortune today. So it is NDC that has made the announcement, and so we are using NDC. But it is something that every single political party must do to be able to strengthen the party. Our system is very different from the South African system, and that comes easy for mention. Under the South African dispensation, the party can recall. So, and when the party recalls you, you lose the position as a president. And I think it's happened before. They recalled one of their presidents. I would have to quickly refresh my mind. I think Zuma, or I'm not sure.
We'll have to check.
But it is something that happens under the South African system. And so the power of the party as a political movement, as an organization, is massive. And they may even be able to do things that Parliament would not be able to do. If parliamentarians are telling Mr. President to behave, and Mr. President is telling them, I am the president, the party will step in, because your actions, your conduct, your inactions are affecting the fortunes of the party. So for me, I think it's a good decision. I think it is something that the NDC has to embrace. The members of the party have to be sure that, well, Mr. President is going on a final term. There's no way he's coming back unless the constitution is amended, which is also another which is also another hot topic within the NDC itself, at least from what we have heard from the General Secretary and some members of the party. But we know that Mr. President is on his final lap. So if Mr. President says that, well, whatever happens to you, I don't care, I'm on my final lap, I'm going, General Mosquito can say that, look, you are going, but we are still here. The party has to continue to remain relevant in the politics of the day, has to continue at the helm of government, has to continue influencing. And so, slow down, Mr. President, slow down, Chuck. We cannot remove you as president, but relax yourself. We can even sponsor an impeachment against you. You see, so the political party has a vast, some amount of power that I'm not sure the political parties themselves even realize, or because of the nature of our politics, everybody is let me hold body small. Otherwise, which is why we cannot have party executives active in government, because again, let me use my friend Sami Jemfi. I always use him because I know he won't beat me. If I use another person, they'll beat me. So Sami Jemfi is a national communications officer of the party. And you know how much this young man contributed to the win of the the NDC. Very, very much. He did what a lot of people could not do to ensure that the party would win power. The party wins, he gets an appointment. So imagine, back then, the flag bearer was responding to him, or let me say, answerable to him as a member of the executive committee. They will say that, Mr. Flag bearer, this is the way we must go. And I'm imagining how powerful chairman was at the time. Now he wins, gives Sami Jemfi an appointment. Now Sami Jemfi would have to then answer to Mr. President. So the tables have turned. So if Sami Jemfi wants to crack his whip as an officer of the party to tell Mr. President something straight to the face, that Mr. President, this decision that you have taken will affect the fortunes of the party. Will Sami Jemfi be able to do that as communications officer? No, because he has to do yes sir to Mr. President. It's the same argument we've been making about members of parliament taking up executive positions or positions in the executive.
Mr. Kwete spoke to it and said that in that same manner, the Constitutional Review Committee has recommended that MPs no longer serve as ministers.
Exactly.
And so it's in that same vein, meaning you can't serve two masters
at the same time.
At the same time. And so that point is very well made. But he's also suggested there could be a reshuffling in the offing very soon.
Yes.
Perhaps
one will be seen.
We'll put up a poll.
One
and
will be
ask,
seen in 9 years.
We'll put up a poll and ask Ghanaians who their best performing ministers are and what positions.
Who should go? I think that is a very simple question.
What positions?
Which minister should be sacked?
Reshuffled. Possibly you will not be sacked, but
no. Let's ask that straightforward question. Which minister should go? Is it Mawina Egbeta?
I'm not a minister of state unless
you were to get an appointment, a green letter, what ministry would you want to?
I've actually not thought about it.
Which ministry do you think you would make the most or the greatest impact?
I haven't given it a thought because I see all of those positions are positions of service actually. There's a running theory I have about political positions and the fact that perspective ought to change in relation to that. For some, they are proceeding in that light. For others too, they see it more as and when basis, right? And so political positions in this country is seen more as a reward than a responsibility to come and serve, a failure of which should attract very punitive sanctions. We haven't reached that yet, and so it's more of a reward system than any other thing. That's why I say that I haven't really averred my mind to it, because if you want to give me a position, it should be something that I understand and I know that I have a clear plan in conjunction with what the manifesto is, and you're working towards achieving that.
Are you talking about having the necessary academic qualifications or having the skill?
Not everything requires
the charisma
academic
to deliver, even in the absence of the academic qualifications.
Yes, you need to commit yourself to learning and learning the ropes of whatever position you've been given, because when you're given the position, yours is to deliver and not make excuses, respectfully. And so that's. I haven't thought about anything in that regard.
Well, I know Phil will want to be minister in charge of women and children affairs.
I've not seen a gender minister who's male before. It's always a position that goes to the women. This is me
racking my brain.
I've not seen one. I've not seen one before. A minister,
male gender minister.
Yeah, it's one that I haven't seen before, and so I'm not sure. By nature of convention, he will be automatically disqualified for that position.
Oh, how?
That's what I said. By nature of convention, in that is how we've done it since the inception of the Fourth Republic, and so I don't know how Phil will suddenly get.
Have you heard about the fests?
I doubt the position of gender minister is one that we could see a first ever in terms of a male.
Anyways,
I just think it's a position like women's organizer, and you say you are expecting to see a male.
But that one too, I never understand. They said come and organize women. They didn't say you must be a woman to be able to organize women.
But it presupposes automatically that you must be a woman.
Oh
so
no.
That to a great extent disqualifies.
Allow me to quickly touch on the Bawumia engagement too.
Now you want to share a few things.
I listened
conspicuously missing Kennedy Ohene Japo and Dr. Brian.
He wasn't at the event.
The two of them were not at the event.
But have you ever heard a sportsman talking politics and current affairs?
Oh, I'm not sure he will want to indulge. I'm not sure he will. I'm not sure he will want to
know
indulge.
Goal, foul, penalty. Is that the only thing you know?
Oh, they know a lot more, but
we are more, say, comfortable talking about the goal, the foul, and all that. Yeah.
Who is the president of Ghana? No, I just want to be sure.
Oh, but
I'm sure if I ask you who the sports minister is, you would know. But I just want to be sure that you know who the president is.
Our president, John Dramani Mahama.
This is what you do. They come and say President Akufo-Addo.
engaged in mischief.
But I think that Alhaji handled that engagement very well. And I enjoyed the speech he gave. The speech was honest. It was reconciling. It was entreating, and it was a speech that says, I am ready to lead everyone, not only the Bawumia faction, not only the Kennedy Japan faction, not only the Brian Champong faction. As for the rest of the people, we can forget about them. These are the three names we'll be dealing with. It was a speech that said that, look, it doesn't matter what has happened. Let us forge ahead. That's the only way we can win. And I think it is commendable that he has chosen that path. I think it's also commendable that he used that opportunity to call on the president to cool down on his people. The message was subtle. He said the temperature is hot. The people have already been through a lot. Now is not the time to be, is it intimidate? Was it the one who used the word intimidate, or the minority leader used the word intimidate?
I think it was a minority leader.
It was a minority leader. But he also made a point to that effect that, look, now is not the time to be arresting our people and to be doing 1, 2, 3. Well, we may disagree on that one. If you have chopped our money with I mean, if I'm here asking for Coach Otto-Addo to be sacked, I don't have any moral authority or right to say some minister who has chopped our money should remain at office.
Wow, but he found a way to bring Otto-Addo into the conversation.
But the point is that I think that the NPP has to begin to listen to Alhaji and give Alhaji an opportunity to heal the party. It has to start with that. He hints of a thank you tour that is in the offing, and that thank you tour for me must largely be a reconciliation tour, to say that let Miracles Abuaji and the lawyer, what's his name again, the Kennedy Japan boy,
Kwesi
Kwarteng. Let Miracles and Kwesi Kwarteng be the ones leading this, to show and demonstrate to the young men and women in the party that all is well with us now. We are no longer using dirty and nasty words on each other, and that we are ready to come together, work together, and ensure that the party gets back into power. I think that thank you tour should not be, we shouldn't be seeing only the Bawumia camp leading it. We should be seeing the party, NPP, national executives, leading that tour.
Perhaps it's early days yet. I'm
I'm
just saying.
He has hinted that this is what they will do.
Yeah,
I'm sharing this based on what they did in the past. To say that you have come out of an election that was very successful, very peaceful, overwhelmingly endorsing of Alhaji. Use this as an opportunity to build the bridges, bring everybody together. Please, I will say it again. Don't end up being like my party, the CPP, that we are now having to fight over who should be general secretary. That's the biggest position in the CPP now, which is not right, because the CPP has so much potential and was once a very powerful and dominant force in this country, but today been reduced to nothing because of other historical issues. But now, as we speak, because the party can simply not bring itself together, internal issues,
a lot of splinters.
Yes.
But let's leave it here and have Bill come through and do sports for us. Yesterday, Hearts of Oak.
But after the sports, we would have to go back to the issue we're supposed to discuss. There was teachers being beaten now. Yes, we have a number of people that we need to speak to on that. So maybe after sports we'll come back.
We'll get into all of that.
But that's actually some current affairs question Bill can answer.
Free bill for yesterday.
If he
Benjamin Asare was man of the match.
Should be sacked.
Yes.
Okay.
Benjamin Asare was man of the match in that El Clasico, Ghana's own version of El Clasico. His confidence level was very high. I watched that game yesterday, Kanketi TV3. He was brilliant.
Very, very. I made an expose stating that he's taking the ball playing gimmick very seriously these days, and it's showing. Like I think one of the major criticisms that he had when he first came into the Black Stars was he wasn't comfortable on the ball. He wasn't comfortable on the ball. But since then, I mean, from the Kirin Cup against Japan, South Korea, to the Super Clash, he's shown that he's very comfortable with the ball. He can keep it, he can juggle with it, do whatever he likes with it, and he was making the saves, the necessary saves, to keep the scoreline at 1-0. And so really big one for him. And of course, since he was definitely under the spotlight, it strengthens his case to be part of the Black Star squad, especially in March for the games against Germany and the games against Austria. There's actually a German who's been texting me on Instagram. He's very keen to see Asare in the post against Germany and see what he can do. So yeah, we'll see.
I think he's laid down the marker.
Yeah.
And
a German is interested in
who
keeps our post for us.
He's interested in Asare. I think his name has shot up in a short period.
Germany.
Like, in fact, in Japan, Seth, when he went to Japan, the number of people that swarmed him for pictures and all of that, it was shocking. Yeah, it was very shocking. That, I mean, someone from the local terrain gaining the kind of traction, the kind of name that he is. Right now, if you mention Benjamin Asare's name on X, on TikTok, wherever, it will blow. Wow. If it's a video, if it's a picture, whatever, it will blow. Because there's a lot of interest. Hearts of Oak. There's a lot of interest in him.
I hope Hearts of Oak is capitalizing on that, and I hope he's earning a lot more now.
I think they gave him a car that I remember.
Okay.
It wasn't the team. It was
I think it was someone who is linked to the team.
A vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, a vehicle. And I believe that his salary might have increased or something like that. But we'll see what happens after the World Cup. Usually, when it gets to that stage, you play in the World Cup, you want to seek greener pastures and all of that. But I mean, so far, kudos to him. His rise has been really, really inspirational, because I quite remember I did a story on him. He had a serious injury that kept him out for like a year.
Oh yes.
And he bounced back.
I watched that.
And now he's become what he has become now. So really, an inspirational story.
Right then, Bilashan will do sports for us, after which we'll return with a bit more in terms of conversations for you here on the 3FM Sunrise. Stay with us.